Welcome to the Business Buzz, episode 15.
All right.
Today, we're diving into a story that's making waves and could be impacting your pantry
Oh, yeah.
as we speak. A massive tuna recall.
Yeah, it certainly caught the attention of analysts and consumers alike. This isn't some small recall, limited to a few regional brands.
Right.
We're talking Tri-Union Seafoods, one of the largest seafood companies globally,
Wow.
issuing a nationwide recall affecting major brands like Genova Van Camp's, even Trader Joe's.
Exactly. It's not every day we see these household names, involved in a recall of this magnitude.
Right.
What's really interesting to me is that this recall stems from a seemingly minor issue, a defect in those easy open lids we've all come to rely on.
Yeah, and it really highlights how even the smallest component in a product can have these ripple effects throughout the entire supply chain.
Yeah.
In this case, those defective lids could compromise the seal of the cans, creating a potential breeding ground for Clostridium botulinum,
Oh, no.
the bacteria that causes botulism.
And that's where the real concern lies, right? Botulism is no ordinary stomach bug.
Oh, absolutely not.
This is a severe, potentially life-threatening form of food poisoning.
Absolutely. The potential for botulism contamination adds a whole new dimension of seriousness to this recall.
Right.
The CDC is very clear that if anyone experiences symptoms like difficulty breathing, muscle weakness, blurred vision, after consuming potentially contaminated food, they need to seek immediate medical attention. Time is of the essence in these situations.
So we've got a major player in the food industry, a widespread recall impacting some of the most recognizable brands, and a seemingly minor manufacturing defect with potentially major health implications.
Yeah.
It's a case study in how a single issue can just send shockwaves through an entire industry.
And it raises all sorts of questions, about quality control measures, supply chain management, consumer trust.
Yeah.
How did this defect slip through the cracks? What systems are in place to prevent these things from happening?
Right.
And how will Tri-Union Seafoods work to rebuild consumer confidence in their brands?
Those are the million-dollar questions that analysts and investors are asking right now. But before we dive deeper into those broader implications, let's give our listeners the essential information they need to determine if they have any of the affected products at home.
Yeah, because the scope of this recall is quite extensive.
Yeah.
We're talking multiple brands, various tuna varieties, different can sizes, and a whole range of best buy dates to keep track of.
Right.
It can feel overwhelming.
So let's break it down methodically.
Okay.
We've compiled a detailed list of all the affected products, including those specific UPC codes, can codes, and best buy dates. We'll make sure this information is readily available to our listeners.
Okay.
For now, let's focus on the key things to look out for.
A good starting point is to identify the brand.
Right.
We've already mentioned Genova Van Camp's, Trader Joe's, and H-E-B.
Yep.
If you have any canned tuna from these brands in your pantry, it's time to grab those cans and take a closer look.
Especially those easy open lids. Any signs of damage, bulging, or leakage should be a red flag.
And don't just rely on appearance.
Okay.
Even if the can looks and smells fine, err on the side of caution. Tri-Union Seafoods is urging consumers not to consume any of the recalled products.
So what should you do if you find you have any of the recalled tuna?
Tri-Union Seafoods offers a few options. You can return the product to the store where you purchased it for a full refund.
Yeah.
You can also dispose of it safely. Or if you prefer a replacement, they're providing retrieval kits and replacement coupons.
Really?
You can contact them directly to request those.
That's great that they're offering those options.
Yeah.
This is a significant financial hit for the company. Not to mention the potential damage to their reputation.
Right.
But the response so far suggests they're prioritizing consumer safety.
Indeed, a proactive and transparent response is crucial in these situations.
Yeah.
Let's delve into the specifics of each brand's affected products.
Okay.
Starting with Genova, they've got several 5-ounce cans on the recall list.
Right. There's solid white tuna in olive oil, yellowfin tuna in olive oil, and yellowfin tuna in extra virgin olive oil with sea salt are all included.
Yeah, and these aren't limited to individual cans.
Oh.
They've also got 4-packs and 6-packs of yellowfin tuna in olive oil on the list.
And we can't forget those larger 7-ounce cans of Genova yellowfin tuna in olive oil that were sold specifically at Costco locations in Florida and Georgia. Those are part of the recall as well.
Yep, those two.
So for those who stocked up at Costco, it's definitely worth double-checking those cans.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, moving on to Van Camp's. What do we need to know about their products.
Camps has their solid light tuna in oil included in the recall, both the individual 5-ounce cans and the convenient 4-packs.
Got it. And then there's Trader Joe's with their wide variety of tuna options.
Yeah.
It seems like they've got a pretty extensive list of affected products.
They do. Several of their popular varieties are on the recall list.
Okay.
Including solid light yellowfin tuna in olive oil, solid white tuna in olive oil, and in water, solid white water, low sodium. Wow.
And solid white water. No salt added. And these come in a range of can sizes, so it's important to check carefully.
Whew, that's a lot to keep track of.
It is.
And last but not least, we have HEB.
Right. Specifically, their solid white tuna in water, sold in 4-packs of 5-ounce cans, is included in the recall.
Okay, so we've covered the brands and the types of tuna affected, but we need to get more granular here.
Yeah.
How can listeners be absolutely sure they have a recalled can?
That's where those specific codes come in the UPC code, the can code, and the best by date. This information is usually printed on the bottom of the can, and it's the most reliable way to determine if your tuna is part of the recall.
So for everyone listening, grab those cans, flip them over, and let's decipher those codes together.
Great idea. Let's start with those Genova 5-ounce cans of solid white tuna in olive oil.
Okay.
The UPC code you're looking for is 4800-000-0215.
Okay. 4800-000-0215. Got it.
What about the can codes?
For this specific product, there are 4 can codes to be aware of. S94N42K, S94N43K, S94N44K, and S94N D1L. And each of these codes has a corresponding best if used by date.
All right, let's get those dates down too.
Okay.
For can codes S94N42K and S94N43K, the best if used by date is December 12th, 2027.
Okay.
Can code S94N44K also has a best if used by date of December 12th, 2027.
Yep.
And for S94N D1L, it's January 24th, 2028.
Now for the Genova yellowfin tuna and olive oil, also in those 5-ounce cans, the UPC code is 48,0013265.
48,0013265.
The can codes to watch for are S84N-D1N and S84N-D2M with best if used by dates of January 13th, 2028 and January 17th, 2028, respectively.
Okay, so 2 can codes for that one, each with its own best by date.
Got it.
Next up, we have the 4-pack of those Genova yellowfin tuna in olive oil pans.
That's okay.
The UPC code for that is 4800-733-265. This one has several can codes associated with it, so pay close attention.
All right, let's hear them.
We have S84N41M, S84N42, S84N42N, and S84N43N,
Okay.
all with a best if used by date of December 13th, 2027. Then there's S84N D1L.
Which actually has 2 different best if used by dates, January 21st, 2028 and January 23rd, 2028. And finally, S84N-D3L with a best if used by date of January 24th, 2028.
Wow, that's a lot of codes and dates for just one product.
It is.
Really highlights how important it is to double-check every detail.
Absolutely. Now let's move on to those larger Genova yellowfin tuna in olive oil 6-packs. These are the 7-ounce cans, and the UPC code is 4800-63267.
Okay, 4800-63267. What are the can codes for these?
There are 2 can codes to watch out for.
Okay.
S84N-D1D and S84N-D2D. S84N-D1D has 3 best if used by dates associated with it.
Wow.
January 21st, 2028, January 23rd, 2028, and January 27th, 2028. And S84N-D2D has a best if used by date of January 27th, 2028.
So even within the same product, there can be multiple best by dates depending on the can code.
Got it. And to wrap up the Genova products, we have the yellowfin tuna and extra virgin olive oil with sea salt in those 5-ounce cans.
Okay.
The UPC code is 48,0013275, and the can code is S88N-D1M with a best if used by date of January 17th, 2028.
All right, we've covered all the Genova products. Now let's move on to Van Cam's.
Sounds good. For their solid light tuna in oil, the individual 5-ounce can, the UPC code is 48,000-5015, and the can code is S83N45K with a best if used by date of December 2nd, 2027.
And what about those 4-packs of Van Cam's? Do they have the same codes?
They do. The UPC code for the 4-pack is 4800-000-75015, but the can code and best if used by date are the same, S83N45K and December 2nd, 2027.
Okay, that's straightforward. Now let's tackle those Trader Joe's products. They have quite a few included in this recall.
They do. Let's start with their solid light yellowfin tuna and olive oil.
Oh, yeah.
The UPC code for that one is 0051403. The can code is S74ND2M, and the best if used by date is January 10th, 2028.
Got it. What about their solid white tuna and olive oil? What should people be looking for in those cans?
The UPC code is 000099287, and there are 2 different can codes with the same best by date.
Got it.
Next up is their solid white tuna and water. That's UPC code 0099285.
Okay. And there are two CAN codes to be aware of here.
Sure.
S92D1L and S92ND2L, both with a best if used by date of January 9th, 2028.
All right, moving right along. What about Trader Joe's solid whitewater low sodium?
That one's UPC code is 0095836.
Okay.
There are three CAN codes to look out for.
All right.
S91N41K with a best if used by date of December 12th, 2027. S91N43M with a best if used by date of December 13th, 2027. And lastly, S91N44M also with a best if used by date of December 13th, 2027.
Three CAN codes for that one, each with its own best by date.
Got it. And we're almost done with Trader Joe's.
All right.
They're solid whitewater. No salt added has a UPC code of 0099284.
Oh.
There are three CAN codes for this one as well.
Okay.
S90N-D2N has two best if used by dates.
Oh, wow.
January 8th, 2028 and January 9th, 2028. Then there's S90N-D1M with a best if used by date of January 9th, 2028.
Okay. Lots of codes and dates to keep track of there, but we're making good progress. Last one is HEB. What are the details on their recalled tuna?
HEB solid white tuna in water sold in those 4-packs of 5-ounce cans.
Okay. It has a UPC code of 412043345. The two CAN codes to look out for are S9FA45K and S9FA46K. Both have a best if used by date of December 12th, 2027.
Phew, we made it through all those codes. That was a lot of information to process, but it's so important for our listeners to have those specific details.
Right.
Those codes are the key to determining if you have any of the recalled tuna.
Absolutely. And remember, even if your can doesn't match those codes, it's still a good idea to inspect it carefully for any signs of damage or leakage.
Yeah.
When it comes to food safety, it's always better to err on the side of caution.
Okay, so we've identified the problem, covered which products are affected, and gone through the specific codes to look for. What should people do if they find they have some of this recalled tuna in their pantry?
As we mentioned earlier, Tri-Union Seafoods is advising consumers not to eat the tuna, even if it looks and smells fine.
Right.
They're offering several options: return it to the store for a full refund,
Okay.
safely dispose of it,
Yeah.
or contact them for a retrieval kit and a replacement coupon.
So no need to panic, but definitely take action if you have any of these products. And if you're experiencing any symptoms that could be related to botulism, don't hesitate to seek medical attention.
Exactly. This situation underscores the importance of staying informed about food recalls and taking them seriously. It's also a valuable reminder that even seemingly minor manufacturing defects can have significant consequences.
This is definitely a story we'll be following closely. But for now, we want to shift our focus to the broader business implications of this recall. What does this mean for Tri-Union Seafoods, for the affected brands, and for the food industry as a whole? We'll explore those questions in more detail after a short break.
This recall, really puts a spotlight on the complexities of that global food supply chain.
It's a great point. We often take for granted that our food will be safe and readily available. But this situation exposes just how many moving parts are involved in getting a product like canned tuna, from the ocean to our pantries.
Exactly. There's the fishing, the processing, the packaging, the shipping, and the distribution. Not to mention all the quality control checks that are supposed to happen along the way. A single misstep at any point in this intricate network can have, significant consequences.
And in this case, that misstep appears to be those defective easy open lids. It raises questions about the supplier that Tri-Union Seafoods is working with. What quality control measures did they have in place? Did they conduct thorough testing before distributing those lids?
Those are critical questions that investigators will be looking into, and the answers could have, far-reaching implications. If it turns out there were lapses in quality control on the supplier's end, it could impact other food companies that use those same lids. We could potentially see a domino effect with more recalls down the line.
It's a scenario no one wants to see, but it highlights the interconnectedness of the food industry and the importance of rigorous quality control at every level.
Absolutely. This recall is a stark reminder that companies can't afford to cut corners when it comes to safety. Investing in robust quality control measures isn't just about complying with regulations, it's about protecting their brand reputation and, most importantly, safeguarding consumer health.
And in today's, hyper-connected world, news of a recall like this spreads like wildfire.
Yeah.
Social media amplifies consumer concerns and can quickly erode trust in a brand, even if they have a long history of reliability.
It's the age of instant feedback, and companies need to be prepared to respond swiftly and transparently. Tri-Union Seafoods seems to be doing that by issuing a voluntary recall, providing clear instructions to consumers, and offering various options for redress.
Their response so far has been proactive, and they've acknowledged the seriousness of the situation. But the real test will be in how they address the root cause of the problem and implement preventative measures to regain consumer confidence.
I agree. This recall presents a significant challenge for Tri-Union Seafoods, but it's also an opportunity for them to demonstrate their commitment to safety and transparency. They need to communicate clearly with consumers, outlining the steps they're taking to prevent similar incidents in the future.
Transparency is key, and so is accountability.
Yeah.
Consumers want to know that companies are taking responsibility for their actions and are dedicated to continuous improvement. This recall could be a catalyst for Tri-Union Seafoods to review their entire supply chain, strengthen their quality control protocols, and potentially even explore alternative lid designs.
It's a chance to turn a negative situation into an opportunity to innovate and emerge as a leader in food safety.
And what about the impact on the affected brands? Genova Van Camp's, Trader Joe's, H-E-B, these are household names. How will this recall affect their sales and their relationship with consumers?
It's too early to say for sure, but anytime a brand is associated with a food safety issue, there's a risk of reputational damage. Consumers may be hesitant to purchase those brands in the near future, even if they've been loyal customers for years.
Brand loyalty is a fragile thing. It can be easily eroded by a single incident, especially when it involves something as sensitive as food safety.
And rebuilding that trust takes time and effort. These brands will need to work hard to reassure consumers that they're taking the necessary steps to ensure the safety of their products.
They might need to launch marketing campaigns, highlighting their commitment to quality control, offer discounts or promotions to entice hesitant buyers, or even partner with third-party organizations to conduct independent safety audits.
It's about demonstrating a genuine commitment to change and regaining that all-important consumer confidence.
This recall also has implications for the wider food industry. It could lead to increased scrutiny of easy open lid designs, more stringent testing requirements, and potentially even a push for alternative packaging solutions.
We might see a shift towards more sustainable and tamper-proof packaging options. There's already growing interest in innovative packaging materials and technologies that can enhance food safety and reduce waste.
This recall could accelerate that innovation, prompting companies to explore new ways to protect their products and reassure consumers.
And consumers themselves are becoming increasingly discerning and vocal. They're demanding greater transparency and accountability from food companies. They want to know where their food comes from, how it's produced, and what measures are in place to ensure its safety.
It's a trend that's been building for years, and this recall could further amplify it. Consumers are empowered with more information than ever before. They have access to product reviews, social media commentary, and a wealth of resources to help them make informed choices.
And they're using that power to hold companies accountable. They're voting with their wallets, supporting brands that align with their values, and demanding better from those that fall short.
This recall is a wake-up call for the entire food industry. It underscores the importance of prioritizing safety, transparency, and consumer trust. Companies that fail to do so risk not only their profits, but also the long-term health of their brands.
It's a high-stakes game, and the stakes have just been raised.
We've talked about the impact on Tri-Union Seafoods, the affected brands, and the wider food industry. But what about the consumer's role in all of this? We are, after all, the end users of these products. What can we do to protect ourselves and advocate for a safer food system? We'll delve into those crucial questions right after this.
Yeah, this recall, it really underscores the need for consumers to be, vigilant about their food choices.
It's so easy to fall into that routine of just grabbing those familiar brands without, thinking too much about it. But
yeah,
this situation highlights how important it is to stay informed and be proactive when it comes to, food safety.
exactly. Reading labels, checking for recalls, and understanding those potential risks,
Right.
they're all part of being a responsible consumer in today's, complex food landscape.
Yeah, it can feel overwhelming at times. Seems like there's a new recall like every week. But it's crucial to remember that these recalls are in place to protect us.
Right.
They're not meant to scare us off, but rather to empower us to make, informed choices.
I agree. Knowledge is power. The more we understand about our food, the better equipped we are to make those decisions that align with, our values and our priorities.
So what are some practical steps that our listeners can take to stay informed and be proactive?
Well, a good starting point is to familiarize yourself with reliable sources of information. The FDA website is a great resource.
Okay.
They have a dedicated section just for food recalls where you can find up-to-date information on current recalls.
And it's not just about checking for recalls after you've already purchased a product.
Right.
You can sign up for email alerts from the FDA or other consumer protection agencies to be notified of new recalls as they're announced.
That's a great tip. Staying informed allows you to be proactive and, potentially avoid purchasing those recalled products in the first place.
Another important step is to understand how to read those food labels effectively. Pay attention to the ingredients list, the nutritional information, any allergy warnings.
Right.
This information can help you make choices that align with, your dietary needs and your preferences.
And don't be afraid to ask questions. If you're unsure about a particular ingredient or have concerns about a product's safety, reach out to the manufacturer or a trusted consumer advocacy group.
It's also essential to be aware of those common food safety risks, and you know how to minimize them. Proper food storage and handling are crucial. Make sure your refrigerator is set to the correct temperature, cook food, thoroughly wash your hands frequently when handling raw ingredients.
Those simple steps can go a long way in preventing foodborne illnesses.
And when it comes to recalls, it's so crucial to take them seriously.
Absolutely.
Don't assume that a recalled product will be removed from store shelves, immediately.
Right.
Always check the specific product codes and the best buy dates to determine if you have any of those affected items.
And if you do have a recalled product, follow the instructions provided by the manufacturer. Whether it's returning it to the store, disposing of it safely, or requesting a replacement, take the necessary steps to protect yourself and your family.
This recall has really highlighted not only the potential risks in our food system, but also the power of, informed consumers. By staying vigilant, educating ourselves, and advocating for greater transparency and accountability, we can all contribute to a safer and more sustainable food future.
It's a collective effort, and every individual plays a role.
We've covered a lot of ground today, from the specifics of this tuna recall to the broader implications for businesses and consumers alike. We hope this discussion has empowered our listeners to make informed choices and navigate the complex world of food safety with confidence.
Remember, knowledge is power, and your health is worth protecting.
Thanks for joining us for this episode of The Business Buzz. We'll be back next time with another deep dive into a topic that's shaping the business world. Until then, stay informed, stay curious, and as always, stay safe.